Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our recurring series where we talk to customer success leaders about excellence in customer success. I'm delighted today to be joined by Sam Cummings, the CEO, founder of Dataplant. Sam, I'll let you introduce yourself in just a second. For those of you that haven't seen the series before, as a reminder, we're speaking to leaders about excellence in CS. Why are we doing this? Well, we run an awards program. In fact, the world's first awards program dedicated to customer success. And the Americas 2023 Americas Gala is happening May 17th in San Francisco. You can join us. Sam, you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Are the people going to be there? Well, there's 15 tickets left at the time of recording, so I hope so if you act fast. We exist to find the true and best operators in our profession. There's a lot of loud voices on LinkedIn, but where are the best voices? And that's why we exist. We got to find them. We got to move our profession forward. We've got a great voice here, and we're going to talk about excellence in CS for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Sam, delighted you could join us. Who are you? What do you do? Let the people know.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I mean, this is such a great time in the customer success industry, and you haven't arrived unless you have an award show, right? So it sounds like maybe we've arrived, huh? But I'm Sam Cummings, CEO of Dataplant. We've built something that I think is pretty transformational, and I'm excited to share with you a little bit more today. But we work in the customer success space, and we've delivered predictive analytics and generative AI in a way that just hasn't been seen before. The world's about to get real exciting, and we're leading some of that charge.
I love it. I love to hear it. And very topical and timely. You know, there's chat GPT everywhere, and it's great to see generative AI being applied to our profession. Let's talk maybe first about why, in your view, it's such a unique and great time to be in CS, right? Tell me a little bit more about that perspective.
CS really is at a new stage, right? With the advancement of chat GPT, a lot of the initial core use case of CS is communication, right? Being able to email and follow up with customers, being able to answer questions quickly and efficiently. These things are now scaled more than ever before, with the ability to auto-write emails, the ability for us to essentially communicate in a way that was really sci-fi years ago. But we've been on this path for a while. I think we all can admit we've all used autocorrect. So again, autocorrect is such a standard part of our lives. We all leverage it. But to go further where we are today, the only way you'll know somebody's actually emailing you if it has spelling errors. That will be the main way that we trust somebody email. Otherwise, you wouldn't know if it's real or not. So that space really puts us in a space where CS can scale like never before. Can I deliver great professionalism and great communication at scale? When you think about digital customer success, so the idea of serving customers directly out of the product without them even having to meet someone, the technologies with ChatGPT are really bringing that to the forefront. But there's just the beginning. And really, when you think about under the hood, the ability for us to leverage CS from a strategy perspective, from a tactical perspective, there's so much places and so many areas where over the next 5 to 10 years, we shall see CS will look a whole different type of animal than it is today.
Well, I think, so firstly, a quick interjection. I love this. You were talking about digital CS, and obviously these days it's more important than ever. Fun fact, and somebody told this to me and I couldn't, well, you tell me if it's a fun fact, right? Fact, somebody told this to me the other day. They said that, you remember Clippy from Microsoft Word?
Mm-hmm.
Like 20 years ago, a little clip, like little paper clip in there that would kind of show up and tell you what to do. That was, in my mind, the first digital CS I have ever seen. And it was like 20 years too early, which to me tells you, you got to be here at the right place at the right time. Here you are with this product in the age of generative AI. And I think maybe another example of right place, right time. Tell me, let's double click on that a little bit, right? I think it's clearly a transformative shift in our profession. How do you see it transforming CS? How we do CS, how we scale relationships, how we do more with less? Touch on some specific examples about how you see this changing.
Yeah, so CS has a real underlying challenge, and this is kind of really proliferated to the software we see in the space. And that is, you have to combine a lot of data to be able to get that 360 view of the customer. So when I send an update, I don't end up like Clippy, where I'm sending you a very generic standard message. The ability for you to personalize, so really bring something down to that individual customer's experience, that's where this is really a transformational moment. Can we deliver experiences that are, at scale? Again, I might have hundreds of accounts I'm managing, but every person feels like and truly understands that we have empathy. And that's the key word here that I think we really are moving into that's different than before. Digital empathy is the ability for companies through their data to understand truly someone's experience. And that experience today is hard. You have to, again, combine a bunch of data. You need admins. Someone has to go build all these rules to build all the processes. That amount of administrative work today makes it so CS is essentially unattainable unless you have a strong admin, a lot of different data sources. And today, that puts a lot of people out of the ability to be empathetic for the customers. But it's a new, right?
Well, it is indeed. And almost you're spending more time internally in your example, right? Optimizing the system, logging my notes in the tool. It's almost more work to put it in the system than it is to just be empathetic and have an intuition today, right? So how do we bridge that gap from, being outward facing our customers and having all of our activity just going to automatically go into the tool without the burden of administration? I mean, you mentioned the term rule-based. I think one of the challenges with the current kind of rule-based systems we have today is that when one surprise churn happens, the knee-jerk reaction of the human, which is probably like the most unpredictable kind of thing in our CS tech stack loop, is to change the rule engine completely. And then I'm kind of swinging the pendulum, reacting this way. But obviously data or advanced data science can help us ensure the pendulum doesn't swing left and right, but autocorrect as we go, right? I think that's part of the thesis here.
Yeah, and you're right on. And that, like, again, this is something that really has been recognized and why we've been selected as one of the startups to watch in 2023 out of America. The Miami Herald saw as one of the leaders in generative AI. NetGuru, shout out to their team. They release all the market analytics and all the details on what's coming up with generative AI. They just listed us as one of the top 30 companies in the world in generative AI. And what that really is a testament to is this problem is huge. The ability for us to really have an analogy, we haven't had a tool or an opportunity like this since the graphing calculator. For everybody who knows, right? The ability for you to have a graphing calculator, whether you're an architect or you work in biology, all these industries, accounting, you're able to do it because you don't have to go do long division in your head. Well, what does that look like for strategic planning as a leader? Where I see and where this is going is everyone's going to have an oracle. We are going to literally live in a space where every business person has not just a interface, so the world of typing on keyboards, but an actual interaction they can have with their systems that can communicate and help them understand their customers. And that's what we're bringing into the fold with the technology and some of the innovations that we're bringing to life. I mean, really striking new ground. And I'm excited to be there at the Customer Success Excellence, because really what makes excellence is the ability to adapt. And that's what you're talking about here when we're looking at these systems. If I have to build all these manual rules and processes, those processes have to be maintained. But then when you look at it from a world we come from recently with COVID, right? If the world changes, the behavior changes, your staff is now invalid. And so companies are losing money. People that are buying products are getting worse experiences because of this digital empathy problem. And that's what we're blowing the lid off of with Dataplant.
I love that, man. I think it's time, innovation and dynamism, right? You were kind of talking about needing to be agile and move quickly. And I think, if you look at least my impression is a lot of the things you're talking about certainly haven't been done before, but I think other departments in the business have more technology supporting this transformation than customer success does, right? Marketing, basic e-commerce. I'm going to target you with this email, with this orientation of the subject line and this product because I think you're most likely to buy it, right? So some of the kind of the targeting that you might expect to happen in a B2B customer relationship where we have a huge amount of data about our customer, more so than a prospect, arguably, still is not here in customer success. So maybe we step back for a second and you could tell us a little bit why you think CS strategy is so manual today, right? Especially compared to other departments. Why are we here? Why are we only here? And how can we change that?
Well, you hit it on the nail. The problem is the amount of data, right? So when you think about a sales and marketing, they might have a lead that has a couple sources, like are they active on our website? What are the demographic information? But you multiply that times 10 with CS. And the ability for you to know what was their support ticket experience in context to their product experience, in context to their buying behavior, right? There's a lot of different nested comparisons that you need to be able to make to effectively understand and have true empathy for what that customer's experience is. And we all experience this at a basic level. If you ever called in customer support and they say, hey, I saw that you called before 3 weeks ago and had an issue, and I see you've been having issues for a while. I'd love to support you in this way. To get to that level of empathy, imagine, if I'm a large carrier for a mobile company, a mobile phone company, I have thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people at all times. So how can I know that? Well, that person has to, do what we've all seen. Hey, at the beginning of the call, give me a few minutes to review your account. And so that whole activity that we all can relate to when we go into conversations with our customers, we review those accounts. Well, to get that account review underneath the hood, some CS operations team is doing the magic to combine all this data together over time so that when that person goes and look at that screen, it has a comprehensive history. But that's where the beginning of empathy begins. Empathy is truly about going further. Can I predict or can I see where you're going to go? Not only do I understand you, but I can see where you are and where you need to be most successful. And that's the gap that, again, great CS and great CS professionals do intuitively. But if you're not able to have that automation in place and spend hundreds of thousands to maintain that automation with human effort, I mean, to be honest, the CS industry really is funded in one way. We take human energy, so human time and effort and thought, and convert it into technical configuration. That is the basic formula. The hamster wheel essentially is software, and the hamster is us. But those days are changing. When we remove that core mechanism out of CS, allowing for AI to auto map data, allowing for AI to auto generate insights for you, allow for AI to learn over time from what you've prioritized, but also what's happened in the past, and use that to automatically give insights to your team. It's this kind of transformation that allows for empathy to seep in. Because again, you're able to better understand and combine that data automatically without having to put a bunch of humans on the hamster wheel.
It's interesting. So the company I worked for before my current one, it was an industrial company, and we had a data contextualization platform. What we talked about was basically like, you can't apply AI on disparate, non-contextualized data, because you're gonna, it's the classic, you put crap in, you get crap out, right? So I love this idea of, marketing and sales put very small numbers of data points in so they can at least do something. Whereas our problem is our deluge of non-contextualized data. The scope of the impact will be much greater, but the input is also much greater, right? And I guess that's where the technology can really support us in driving this change. It's a really interesting perspective. I got a gotcha question for you, Sam. Okay, you didn't expect it. I'm gonna get you with it. I saw one of your LinkedIn posts, and you said that there will be no more human CSMs by the year 2032. Okay, and that's hey, a lot of CSMs listen to this channel, so help us feel more comfortable about our future in 10, 11 years, 9, 10 years. Very bad mental math. That's why we should put data, not CSMs, on it. Where do you think we're going to be in 5 to 10 years? And why do you think that there will be no more human CSMs 10 years in the future?
Yeah. So,
gotcha.
Spicy take, huh? Shout out to, the Hot Wings. Shout out to Tyler over there at Gainsight. If you haven't seen his show, I want to give him a shout out too. This is one of those moments, right? And it's kind of hard to see and hard to visualize. If I showed you the internet in 1992 and you saw what that was, and I told you that this would be something that everybody uses and literally drives not just our society, politics, business decisions, everything across our life is now integrated with the internet. You probably look at me like I'm crazy. So let's just take this moment as one of those moments. I might just be that one person giving you a little bit of a headlight here. But what this ultimately means is, we are going to be in a space where the idea of a human is as a digital interactive being is going to be real. And what I mean by that is, we are in a space where, just giving you a scientific analogy that just years ago would be insane, right? So I can take your voice, clone it, take that clone voice. So say I have a voice of Alex here. And then if I tie that in front of ChatGPT, so I can talk to ChatGPT like it is today, but it's your voice. At that point, I have an oracle. But what is interesting, we all have digital histories. If I could take all your previous emails you've ever written, all the blogs you've done before, all the video chats you've done, so the content that you have put out that represents you digitally, and clone that. This is Star Wars, baby. We
I
out here
love it.
making multiple Boba Fetts. Let's go.
Sam, I'll be honest with you, man. I love the sound of my own voice. Those that know me think that I'm joking, but those that know me think I'm serious. So I'm your first customer. Let's make it happen. I love that. The future, yeah, the future is exciting, but I think that's 9 years away due to my poor mental math previously. How do we, obviously, it's not going to happen to us overnight. And if we don't make the right moves now, we're not going to, there's going to be winners and losers. That's my point, right? Those that said, no, forget this internet thing. I don't need it. We're going to stick with our paper process. They don't exist anymore for the most part, right? So, what do we need to do in the next 1 to 2 years as B2B SaaS companies in CS to make sure that we're predisposed to be successful in this transition over the next 9 years, right? How do I future proof my business with all of this change that's happening in the world?
Making this investment is the most important investment you'll make as a business. I mean, your competitors will beat you if they have better customer experience. I mean, when we break it down to the end of the day, the ability to provide a customer experience that has empathy and understanding at the core will be the differentiator in service and product. And with that paradigm in mind, you have to look at what it takes to deliver great customer experience. And when you look at that core pyramid or core angle of it, what you'll see is that underneath the foundation is strategy. And so think of that as like that first layer that where automation and where we're leading with Dataplant takes over, makes it viable for it to be a fully automated industry. And because today, again, with all that data, it's important to make the right decisions. When I send that automatic email, it actually being contextualized means it knows the right things across the different data sources to give that right insight. But then it also has to know what's actually going to be valuable from previous customers that were successful. So how can I meet you where you are, but then have the ability to see where you need to be, where you could go, and then give you that path to where you should be going. And it's that kind of progress that, again, digitally is going to be happening over the next 2 to 5 years with us leading some of that charge. And what that's creating is the automation of being able to find out what drives behavior in your business, whether it's advocacy, churn, any outcome you want to predict. Can we look at historic data and then predict what's going to happen with that? The other side of it is we all have these tools, but in the day, we end up using Excel and PowerPoint to do our planning. How many one-on-ones have we all done where at the end of the day, we're either in Excel, listing, here's my commits, who's going to renew, here's my risk, and you have a PowerPoint, you have a book planning session, and again, all these software in the world. You might have Salesforce, Gainsight, Zendesk, every name you might logo name, but then at the end of the day, you still are working PowerPoint because the strategy part is still has not been captured. And so that's stage, see that as stage one. And from that stage, then you can do automation of activity. And so we're seeing this as well with the ChatGPT revolution, is that first it can understand or have context, but then it can take action. So you see, they've just released plugins for OpenAI's ChatGPT that connected to Instagram or might connect it to, a DoorDash, so it can order food for you automatically, right? Like that is a parallel for where we're going with CS. And unless you crack this CS strategy problem, you can't effectively do CS scale with generative AI and be personalized. So that's what we're leading the charge and really leading the way for companies to step into that new world.
I mean, I think you're throwing down the gauntlet here because I'm sure there's people watching this that are like working on their first automated email sequence that they're going to send when a customer stops logging in, right? And then maybe it's manually triggered, right? I mean, that's where we are. And I think it's time to buckle up and get ready for some real change. And that's, super exciting. It really feels like, we're in the, how do people say, that pause to breathe in before we really go. And it's exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting. And there's a lot of innovation that's due to come. And obviously you're leading the charge here, man, which is great.
You're just getting good, y'all. Get your popcorn.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Awesome. Well, hey, this has been a great conversation. I'm going to leave the last word to you. If there's anything you want to add for the people, and then we'll sign off here. So what do you want? What's the kind of the parting message that you want to leave all of our audience here with?
There's no better time to be in CS. You are at a position, no matter if you're a CSM, CS leader, CS director in this space, this is the moment. And for those who are looking to really advance their careers, really put their companies on the map, you gotta put customer success strategy, and more importantly, generative AI at the corner of that mix. And there are tons of opportunities for you to get your business in that space. And, whether it's, improving your ability to get your data in the right place, right? Or finding the right leaders and decision makers who really can see that path forward in your LinkedIn network, follow them and see what's going on. Those little steps, I'm telling you, the small stuff you do today will pay dividends in your career. And so as you look out there and you see this landscape of what's going on, one thing I can guarantee you for sure, adaptability will be the superpower. If you have to do an analytics project once a quarter to figure out what's going on, you're going to be too slow to respond to all the needs of your customers. So now is the time to really lean in to this moment and put yourself in that forefront. Because I'm telling you, the next set of unicorns, the next set of leaders that we see on Forbes, you're going to come from our industry and our space. And digital empathy is the core of it. And I'm excited. Leading Dataplant. I'm going to see everybody in San Francisco for the Excellence Awards. I'll be at Pulse speaking, standing with a great company of ours that we work with called Restaurant 365. Shout out to Chris, Melissa, everybody there. I mean, we have such great people. Now our tools are going to finally deliver to the promise.
I love it, man. I love it. I love the energy. There's a quote that I heard a long time ago that really resonates with me right now, which is that if you're afraid of change, you're going to like irrelevance even more. And that feels like it really kind of synthesizes where we're at as a profession and where we are in tech as well. Sam, this has been delightful, refreshing, spicy at times as well, to use the word that we settled on there. We appreciate your support. Obviously, Dataplant's a bronze sponsor of the Customer Success Excellence Awards. Excited to see you in San Francisco, and to the audience, hope to see you in less than a week in San Francisco as well. Thanks for watching, and see you at the Excellence Awards. Thanks again, Sam.
Thank you. Take care.